Hi everyone, Brian here and welcome back. In this second instructional video, I will be taking you through an overview covering the various sections of the PLA program, including showing you how to score your 3 life assessment charts. The first thing I want to cover in becoming familiar with your PLA is that there's going to be a learning curve. There's a lot to it. There needed to be in order to ensure it would be complete and work for people. However, I have carefully developed and organized it to make the learning curve as short as possible, and these instructional videos explain what you need to know a step at a time. As you are about to learn the PLA process, I'm going to take a minute to talk about a principle in effective learning called readiness. Ideally, readiness means being in an optimal state of learning, or at least being in a state where you can learn, not being too tired, for example. Part of readiness means understanding why you desire or need to learn something, which I covered in the last video. Also, it is important to have a sense of what's up ahead, how challenging it will it be fun, rewarding, meaningful, who's teaching, etc. Now, you can aid yourself in readiness in a number of ways, one of which is to understand the natural process of the learning curve from the bottom to the top. Understanding the learning curve when learning any skill is very helpful, so I developed an acronym to describe it that I call JOMIT. G is getting the gist of it, H is you're getting the hang of it, O means you're beginning to own the new skill, and M equals mastering that skill. In any skill that you can now do very well in your life, first you needed to get the gist of it, the general idea of something, how it works, or what you need to do or learn to make it work. Then, by practicing what you've learned, there is a point where you begin to feel you've got the hang of it. You become more comfortable with applying what you've learned. Through continued dedication to practicing, simply consistently doing what you have learned, you begin to own what you have learned, which means you have become very comfortable with your understanding of the new skill and feel proficient at applying what you've learned. The skill you are learning begins to become something you find really worthwhile. Once this takes place, you begin to feel it's yours. You own it. Once you feel you own a skill, then through continued study, practice, and application, you begin to master it. You are confident in its use, and employing it becomes automatic. This is what will take place if you commit to the PLA process. First, you will get the gist of it, then the hang of it, then you will own it, and if you are consistent, you will master it. And as a result, you will cause dramatic, positive, loving, transformational change to occur in your life. In short order, you're going to become very comfortable with your PLA program, and it will become like a friend guiding you along the way. And the cool thing about it, you will be guiding yourself. You will be the one assessing your life, and you will be the one deciding what you need to do to achieve greater needs fulfillment. Your PLA will become like your personal compass that you access frequently to make sure you are on the course that you have decided you want to follow in your life. So let's get started learning the PLA program. Your PLA file will open to the window sizing page, and based on the window size template you emailed to me prior to receiving your PLA file, it should be sized for optimal viewing on your computer screen. Simply make sure the bottom and right side arrows are just touching the inside of the window borders like this. If this is not the case, it's quite easy to remedy. Just click on the 2-minute instructional video and I'll walk you through how to set up your window size. If your window size is set right, click the Homepage button. The homepage is like the PLA Houston control. You can access all key sections of the PLA file directly from the homepage by clicking the navigation button links here in the bottom half of the page. These button links provide fast and easy access to the pages within the PLA file, rather than having to locate what you're looking for by accessing these small tabs at the very bottom of the screen, which you will be familiar with if you have any experience using Excel. However, the way I designed the PLA, you don't need to have any experience with Excel to effectively use it. The PLA program is comprised of 7 main sections, and I'll be covering the first 3 sections in this video. Select reading material gleaned from my book, the 3 life assessment charts, and the description pages and chart scoring. In videos 3 and 4, I will be covering the goal setting, affirmations, and journaling sections, the daily review process, the summary and full track pages, and HCR memorization techniques. Though this list might at first seem time-consuming, I assure you that I designed the PLA program to be time manageable. I have now done over 100 PLA sessions, and I have found each session really beneficial in helping me become more heart-centered and balanced, which has led to me not only being able to relate with others in more heart-centered ways, it has also caused me to use my time much more effectively. And what I have found is relating with others in heart-centered ways and being more effective with your time go hand in hand. The PLA program is not designed to take time away from you. It is designed to help you become more heart-centered, which will aid you enormously in determining how to be both more effective and efficient. What is truly unique about the PLA program is that it provides both the practical theory to determine what you desire to manifest in your life and the practical goal setting and planning tools to help you accomplish this. If you stick with it, you will come to experience this for yourself. After just 2 or 3 sessions, you will be able to do a weekly life assessment quite easily within an hour, and your daily reviews in 5 minutes once or twice a day. You may decide to put in more time as you experience your increasing awareness and how this positively changes how you are thinking, feeling, acting, and relating to others. For this is time invested in yourself, in your character development and strengthening, and learning how to be more heart-centered in productive ways. For this is what leads to the fulfillment of your dreams, which includes meaningful, loving, and fulfilling relationships. This is what heart-centered work is all about. So the more you put into it, the more you will get out of it. You start your PLA with a Lapo meditation to get yourself heart-centered and calm. You then read the outline steps for HCR's 8 relating practices, and then the heart-centered thought directing material. Here are the reasons these sections are part of each PLA session. We encounter the same challenges in life on a repeating basis until we learn whatever it is we need to learn to overcome those challenges. The circumstances and situations change, but not how these events cause us to feel. We naturally hope that the circumstances that are bothering us will change before we look within ourselves to change. However, this attitude is not how we develop and strengthen our character. Life is about changing us. It is about growing us up. True spiritual maturity is attained through learning how to cooperate with the circumstances that challenge us. It's about learning to be grateful and adaptive to the changes that occur in our lives, and to use challenges as opportunities to grow in our awareness. This is what this select reading material is about, for we need to remind ourselves of these truths regularly in order to consistently respond virtuously to challenges we've had trouble overcoming in our past. As I mentioned earlier, when you do your first PLA, it will open to the window sizing page. Just check to make sure the window is sized correctly, then click on the Homepage button, then on the Lapo button. On the Lapo page, you see there are 2 columns. The left column includes the HCR version of the Lapo practice. This right column is a customized version and is provided if you desire to adapt the Lapo practice to your preferences. For example, if you are uncomfortable with the name God, you can change it to Life, Spirit, Creator, the Divine, or whatever you are comfortable with, or adjust other wording to your liking. The left column has a number of instructional paragraphs at the top, which explain the benefits of the meditation, customization options, and breathing techniques. At the bottom of either column, you see these 2 button panels. These button links allow you to quickly go to the top of the page if you want to reread a section, back to the home page if you are reading this material between PLA sessions, or to go to the next step, HCR's Positive Influence Relating Practices. Clicking that button will take you to the top of that page. It only takes about 2 minutes to read the opening paragraphs and to peruse the outline steps of the 8 practices. And this serves to remind you of how important these practices are in creating a cumulative effect on improving your ability to relate with others in heart-centered and effective ways. And just like the Lapo page, the 2 button panels are located at the bottom of the column. Clicking the Heart-Centered Thought Directing button will take you to the top of that page. This Heart-Centered Thought Directing page contains about 10 to 15 minutes of bullet point reading material that was gleaned from my book. This material is super effective at getting you into a heart-centered frame of mind concerning whatever is transpiring in your life. We simply need to be reminded of these truths frequently in order to recondition ourselves from the negative thought patterns that we so often default to that simply don't serve us. As you become more familiar with the material, you can underline or bold various words in order to be able to go through and remind yourself of these truths even quicker than reading bullet points. Once you have read through this heart-centered thought directing section, you are ready to score your charts. However, before I explain the scoring process, I'm going to cover the life assessment charts. On the home page, the right panel contains the session link buttons. The S on each button stands for session, S1 for session 1, S2 for session 2, etc. Each session has the 12 basic needs categories listed on the needs chart, the 24 HCR virtues on the virtues chart, and the 12 HCR life skills on the life skills chart. On the home page, you access whatever session you're on by clicking that session number, in this case, S1. Each session page is identified in the top title, as well as by the S button on the navigation panel, and each of the charts are titled at the top of that chart. Here we see the needs categories listed, and beside these, the scores are displayed, with the total percentage score at the bottom. The life skills chart follows the same format, as does the virtues chart. The difference is the virtues chart has the 4 cornerstone virtues listed at the top with their own score total, and the foundational virtues listed at the bottom with their own score total. The charts automatically highlight the 3 lowest scores for the needs categories, foundational virtues, and life skills, and the lowest score for the cornerstone virtues, so your 10 lowest scores will be highlighted. These will be the areas you will be working to improve first. This strategy is based on the concept that you are only as strong as your weakest link. Beside each listed item, you see a little hand. These hands are links that when clicked will take you to the description page for that item, which I will be covering a little further ahead. Here is the Personal Life Assessment Health Level table. In the left column, we see there are 7 health levels. The middle column is the health description for the corresponding health level, from critically unhealthy to exceptionally healthy. And the right column contains the percentage range for each health level. 0 to 20% for the lowest level, 91 to 100% for the highest level. Here I'm using an example needs fulfillment chart, and the total is 62.1%. If this was your chart, you would refer to the health level table to see what percentage range your score is in. In this case, the upper range of the moderately healthy level. Underneath the health assessment table is the session page summary totals. This right column contains the current session totals, and the left column your previous totals. Of course, on your first session, there will not be previous totals, so this column will contain 0%. However, once you've completed your second PLA session, you will be able to compare your needs, virtues, and life skill scores, as well as the average of all 3 scores with your previous totals. This feedback provides very important motivation for continual improvement. Now we'll take a look at the navigation panel. The right arrow takes you to the next 3-chart session, the left arrow to the previous session. The summary icon will take you to the summary table, and the full track icon to the full track table. And these 2 pages track your scores for all 12 sessions. This button is the homepage link. Every page in the PLA contains this homepage button. Each of the icons in this group contains a link to relaxing music. Clicking on any of these 5 icons will open a different relaxing music soundtrack in YouTube that you may enjoy having in the background while scoring your charts or working on your goals. The final section to cover on this page is this bottom left picture of the ocean and rainbow, with the scale superimposed over top. This picture serves as a reminder of what the PLA process is all about. The ocean represents your life journey, and the scale that you are working towards attaining balance in your life by scoring high in all needs categories. We'll go back to the navigation panel and click the homepage button and do a quick recap. Your PLA starts with a LAPO practice. Next is HCR's 8 relating practices, and then the heart-centered thought directing page. These parts of the PLA process take from 10 to 15 minutes depending on your familiarity. The more PLAs you do, the quicker you can go through this material. Once you've completed these parts of the PLA process, you begin scoring your charts. So at the bottom of the heart-centered thought directing page, which is the last step before scoring your charts, You will click on the Start Scoring button, which will take you to the first description page. It is on the description pages that you score your charts, and as you will see, this is a very efficient way of accomplishing this. I'll explain this page a section at a time. Each of the description pages contains an explanation defining what the particular need category, virtue, or life skill on that page means in HCR language. Beginning with the needs categories, we see that the first needs category is survival subsistence, with this paragraph containing the description for this category. When you have scored this category, you then score the second needs category, connection community, then health well-being, and so on. Each description page has a scoring guideline table. To determine your score, you read the description, and then scan the qualifier column asking yourself if this need is unmet, rarely met, sometimes met, half met, generally met, almost fully met, or fully met in your life. Beside the qualifier column is the percent column, which shows the percentage range associated with each qualifier. If you choose one of the single-digit qualifiers, then you would score 0, 5, or 10. If you choose one of the two-digit qualifiers, then you need to decide whether you feel this category is being fulfilled at 1 or 2, 3 or 4, 6 or 7, or 8 or 9. You can also use decimal points, especially in future sessions, if you feel there has been an incremental change up or down. For example, 5 is 50% fulfilled, 6, 60%, so 5.5 is 55%. You insert your chart scores in the scoring cells. Above the scoring cells are the chart session links from 1 to 12. Whatever session you are scoring, in this case session 1, you place your score in the cell directly underneath it. So you read the description, refer to the qualifier column, choose your qualifier. Here we are choosing almost fully met. You then decide whether you feel this need is being met at 8 or 9, or a decimal in between. We'll choose 8. You then place that score choice in the scoring cell by clicking on that cell. When you click on the cell, you will see this border outline. Then type in your score. This completes the scoring process for this needs category. Above the scoring cell are the date cells. However, the date cells are only on this first description page. On your first session, all the dates will show as January 1. When you begin scoring any session, in this case session 1, the first thing you do is place the current date in the date cell. Though in this demonstration, I explained how to score first. You see these little triangles in the top of the date cells. This indicates that there is a comment box. When you hover your mouse over any of these cells, the comment box will appear. These comment boxes are for recording the main events of your week, as main events will likely affect your scores. Though you can view these boxes by hovering your mouse cursor over the cell, if you want to write in one, you must right-click on the cell. When you right-click on the cell, the comment box will disappear, and this menu will pop up. Choose Edit Comment. Then double-click on the word Write to highlight it. Then write out your main events of the week. When you are finished writing, click the Escape key at the top left of your keyboard, and the comment box will disappear. Then type in the current date. In this case, I typed the date I created this video, which was April 6th. After you've entered the date, click on the scoring cell underneath. You would then read the description, choose your qualifier, and type in your score as explained earlier. Underneath the scoring table is the Needs Categories Links panel. Clicking any of these buttons will take you directly to the description page for that needs category. This panel allows for efficient navigation during the daily review process, which I will be explaining in more detail in the next instructional video. However, for the purpose of this overview, here's a brief description of how these panels are used. In your quick daily reviews, you focus on increasing your awareness of how to improve your 10 lowest scores. And here on this example needs chart, we see the 3 lowest scores for the needs categories are categories 7, 8, and 10. If this was your chart, you would begin on category 7, Creativity Expression, by clicking the little hand link, which takes you to the description page for this needs category, as would clicking the number 7 button on the Links panel. As each description page has a links panel, once you were finished reviewing this needs category, instead of having to go back to the chart to access the link for your next lowest score, number 8, Autonomy Freedom, you simply need to remember that it is number 8, and hovering your mouse over any link will cause this little hint box to pop up. In this case, it's telling us this link will take us to the Autonomy Freedom page. So when we click on 8, we see we are on the Autonomy Freedom page. When you are finished with this page, you would click the number 10 button to go to the Variety Leisure page, but we'll go back to N1 by clicking the number 1 button. Beside the Needs Categories Links panel is the Homepage panel. Clicking here will take you to the home page and here to the first Virtue Description page. In the top right corner of every description page is the memory graphic. You will find the memory graphics very beneficial in remembering all of the needs categories, virtues, and life skills quite easily, which is what Mastering HCR Life Skill 9 entails. And I cover this very interesting topic in the HCR memorization instructional video. The final section to cover is the page identifier and the navigation arrow, in this case N1 for Needs Category 1, Survival Subsistence, and the navigation arrow takes you to the next needs category. We are now on the Needs Category 2 page, Connection Community. So to quickly recap the scoring process, you read the description, go to the scoring guideline table, scan the qualifiers, choose a qualifier. In this case, I'm choosing Generally Met at 7 out of 10. You then click on the scoring cell and type 7. Here's the page identifier, N2, for Needs Category 2. The left arrow will take you back to the previous needs category, and the right arrow will take you to the next needs category, which we'll now click. We are now on the Needs Category 3 description page, Health Well-Being. You read the description, choose your qualifier. In this case, I'm choosing between 7 and 8, and typing 7.5 in the scoring cell. You would then click to the next needs category, but for this overview, I'm going to jump ahead to the last needs category, N12, by clicking the number 12 button on the Links panel. And I'm scoring Needs Category 12, Contribution Fulfillment, at 7.3. Because N12 is the last needs category, once you have scored it, you will have completed scoring the Needs Fulfillment chart. I could continue scoring by clicking the right arrow to go to the first virtue to score, Appreciation, but we're going to click on the Session 1 link to look at our total scores on the Session 1 Needs Fulfillment chart. So here we are on the Session 1 3-chart page, and when we look at the Needs Fulfillment chart, we see that the Needs Score column has automatically populated the scores that I just entered in for each needs category on the description pages. The 3 lowest needs scores are highlighted, and the total score is 68.8%. Since Contribution Fulfillment was the last needs category we scored, we'll return to scoring by clicking on the little hand link here, which will take us back to N12, Contribution Fulfillment. You then click on the right arrow to go to the first virtue to score, C1. The C1 represents Cornerstone Virtue 1, which is Appreciation. You score your virtues adherence using the same process as scoring your needs fulfillment. Read the virtue description, then refer to the qualifiers on the virtue scoring guideline table, which uses different wording than the qualifiers for needs fulfillment. Then ask yourself, do I never, rarely, sometimes, half the time, often, almost always, or always adhere to this virtue in my daily living? If you choose often at 7 of 10, you would then go to the scoring cell for Session 1, click on it, and type 7. This is the Virtues link panel, which provides direct access to all 24 virtue description pages, just like the Needs link panel provided direct access to the Needs description pages. The C buttons are the Cornerstone Virtue links, and this is the memory graphic for the 4 Cornerstone Virtues. Clicking on these Cornerstone Virtue buttons will take you to those virtue description pages. The remaining buttons are links to the 20 Foundational Virtue pages, so clicking on any of them will take you to the Foundational Virtue description pages for that number. I'm clicking number 5 to go to F5, Acceptance. The first thing you may notice about the Acceptance page is the length of the description. Here is the reason for this. Though no HCR virtue is more important than another, some of the virtues require deepening our understanding of what they truly mean in order to fully benefit from adherence to them. Acceptance is one of those virtues, as is empathy and sincerity. Therefore, they require longer descriptions. You continue using the same scoring process for all the virtue pages until you get to Virtue 20, which I'm going to jump ahead to by clicking number 20. F20, Celebration, is the last virtue. Therefore, once you have scored it, as I'm doing here, scoring this virtue at 6 out of 10, your virtues chart scoring will be complete. You can continue scoring by clicking the right arrow to go to the first life skill to score, or click on the Session 1 link to look at your virtues chart, which is what we'll do. We are back on the Session 1 page where we previously looked at how the needs chart scores had automatically populated. And now that all the virtues have been scored, the virtues chart scores are also filled in, with a score of 70% on the cornerstone virtues and 67.8% on the foundational virtues. To begin scoring the life skills, you could go back to the celebration description page by clicking the hand link and pressing the right arrow on that page, or you can go directly to the first life skill by clicking the hand link here beside the first life skill. That link takes us to the L1 page. The L1 represents Life Skill 1, Life Assessments. The life skills are scored in the same way as the needs and virtues. However, the life skill descriptions detail the scoring requirements. Therefore, your life skill scores are not based on your feelings of fulfillment or adherence, but on whether you are doing them and at what level of discipline. So you read the details as listed, and then score yourself based on how closely you are meeting the requirements for full development of this life skill. Then choose a qualifier, and then score the life skill. Then click the right arrow and score Life Skill 2 and 3, etc. to Life Skill 12. Now on your first session, it is likely that you will be scoring many of the life skills low. For example, you will be scoring Life Skill 1 at 0 because this is your first session. However, you may already be doing 15 minutes or more of physical exercise activity every day, as well as a daily spiritual practice. If this was the case, you would score these life skills at 10. You might also be doing something you really enjoy most days, so you might score this life skill at 8. The point I want to emphasize is that it is your second PLA session and those afterwards that your scores on the life skills become more valid. Your first session is just the starting point and provides a benchmark from which to progress. For example, if you scored just 20% on your first life skills chart and you improved just 2% per week for 24 consecutive weeks, your score would improve from 20% to 68% in less than half a year, which would be a significant lifestyle change. If you improve just 3% per week, then your score would rise to 92%. The goal with the PLA process is not perfection, but rather consistent improvement. For over time, small, consistent improvements result in dramatic positive change. We'll finish up the scoring instructions by going to L12, which is the last life skill description page, Daily Enjoyment Affection. I'm going to score this life skill at 7.5, and now all 3 charts have been scored. So we'll take a final look at the Session 1 page by clicking on the S1 button. Looking at the life skills chart, we see these scores are now also filled in. The 3 lowest scores are highlighted, and the total is 72.2%. Looking at the page summary totals, we see that all the current totals for all 3 charts have automatically calculated. 68.8% is the needs fulfillment total, 68.1% is the average total for all the virtues, 72.2% is the total for the life skills, and 69.7% is the average of all 3 chart scores. Looking at the totals, we see that all fall within the percentage range of 66 to 80%, which is level 5, healthy. These example scores are okay, but there's room for improvement. A great personal goal is to have all chart scores in the very healthy range, and to work towards being in the exceptionally healthy range, not just with your total averages, but all items on the chart list at a minimum of 9. This is a very worthy goal to work towards, for when attained, it will mean you are truly achieving your potential of being the best you can be. We have now completed the scoring process, so we'll go to the navigation panel and click on the Homepage button to finish up this overview. The last topic I'm going to cover in this video is the goals, affirmations, and journaling sections, or GAJ sections, that are part of each description page. And I'm only doing a brief overview here, for this is the topic of the next instructional video. Once you've completed scoring, the next step in the PLA process is to set goals to improve your lowest scores. So you click whatever session you're on, in this case, Session 1. As previously explained, your 10 lowest scores are automatically highlighted. In this example, these are the 3 lowest need scores, and I'm going to choose Autonomy Freedom by clicking on the hand link. Each page identifier is a link to the GAJ section of that page. Clicking it takes you to the top of that page. As mentioned, I will be explaining this section in detail in the next instructional video. For regularly using the templates contained in the GAJ sections will really help you achieve greater needs fulfillment and cause positive, loving change to occur in your life. But here's a brief description of what's contained in the GAJ sections. There are template spaces for writing out gratitude statements. Here you will be writing out what you are grateful for regarding how a need is currently being met in your life, even if not at a level that you are satisfied with. By being grateful, you expand what you focus on, and this begins to immediately move you in the direction of greater needs fulfillment. Your goals for needs fulfillment for this needs category, your passionate reasons why achieving your goals in this needs category is so important to you, your objectives, which are the steps you need to accomplish to attain your goals, your strategies for achieving your objectives, and a journaling space for writing out opportunities that come to you for achieving greater needs fulfillment in this needs category. That's the brief overview of the GAJ sections, and I'm sure you're beginning to see how these GAJ sections will help you clarify and organize what you need to do to achieve greater needs fulfillment. The Virtues and Life Skills GAJ sections are similar, but are specifically tailored to help you increase your Virtues and Life Skill scores, which I will be covering in detail in the next instructional video. Once you've finished working on a GAJ section, you can scroll up to get back to the top of the page, but it's quicker to click these sidebar links, for doing so will immediately take you back to the top of the page. You can save the file and have it open to this page on your next daily review, click the session number you are working on and save the file on your current session, or return to the home page and save the file there, whatever works best for you. Your next step is to open your PLA file and score your charts. Okay, we've covered a lot of material, so once you finish scoring your life assessment charts, take a break, and then at your earliest opportunity, watch the next instructional video where I will be covering in detail the 10 Quick Goals page, the GAJ sections, the daily review process, as well as explaining the summary and full track tables. See you there.